Hello again, and welcome back to Illegally Cited. This is Jesse, and I am back for another PC Accessible Games Spotlight video. And we are returning to another kind of a graphic novel-esque adventure game. It is a sequel to a game that I should have a video out for on the channel already. We looked at Arcade Spirits, and it was a game where you start out as this character, he just lost his job, or you just lost your job. Your roommate gives you this app that is supposed to help you find your dream job, possibly find a romantic partner, whatever. Kind of pick and choose how you want to proceed. I have not played all the way through that game, but I'm assuming either this picks up where the other one left off, or the subtitle for this one. So we have Arcade Spirits, the new challengers. So this may be a similar type of spiel, but it may be also totally new characters. This is the first time that I have loaded up this game. I have never played it before at all. The only thing that I've done so far is once I started the game, I hit the letter V, which turned self-voicing mode on, and I have confirmed the arrows do work. And I can go through the menus and options and stuff here. So if I arrow,
load,
got arrow up and down here, I'll raise them left and right.
Prizes, about, quit, start.
So it's very similar to the Arcade Spirits one. The menu layout is a little bit different, but functionally, as far as your text-to-speech accessibility goes, it's self-voicing. You don't need a screen reader. And it seems like it's a very similar, pretty straightforward interface as the first one. So we're just going to go ahead and go to start. Again, I don't know how slow this is going to start. I don't know what we're going to get into, if we're going to have another character creator. But let's go ahead and start and see what we got.
Hello, and welcome to the audio-only mode for Arcade Spirits, the new challengers.
Okay.
When playing with self-voicing on, we'll streamline the user interface and present extra visual narration as you go to help you enjoy the game.
So I have not played this in a visual mode, either game, but especially since this is an arcade-themed style title, I hope we're not losing out on if there's any arcade mini games or something that sighted players get to play. I mean, it's cool that we get to go through the stories. But I hope that we're not missing out on, I get to play maybe a little space shooter mini game or a card mini game, or whatever kind of simple type of thing, if that's the case. Because he said they streamlined the interface a little bit, so let's just continue here.
This game is partially voice acted. Actors will read lines during key emotional moments in the story, with the rest handled by the self-voicing system.
Yeah, pretty much same exact tutorial dialogue as we got for the last one.
You can use the left and right arrow keys on your keyboard to navigate over to the menu. We recommend using the quick save and quick load commands from this menu to save your game. It makes things simpler.
Okay, so you can manually go through. There's a ton of both pages and save slots, so there's a bunch of them. And you can do that manually, or you can do quick save, quick load.
We'll also unlock the rollback feature for you, so you can go back a few lines if you missed something or accidentally skipped dialogue. Use page up and page down or your mouse scroll wheel to roll back and forth.
I did do that in the previous game once because I did accidentally advance the text prematurely, so I'm really glad they included that type of feature.
Frequently you'll have to choose what you want to do or say. When these menus pop up, you will hear a beep that sounds like this. When you hear this beep, you can use the left and right arrows to select what you want to say.
And hit enter
you
or space.
You usually have 3 options, but this can vary.
Accept.
Lastly, sound effects will indicate when you score relationship points with characters, or earn personality points.
Okay.
For example, this sound means you've earned 1 point with the character you're currently talking to.
Fair enough.
If you encounter any issues with this accessibility system, let us know. We're always looking to improve it, if possible. Contact us on Twitter or by email.
Very cool.
Now, let's start the actual game.
Let's do it. Sounds
The
like
following is a work of fiction. All references to trademarked classic arcade game titles are used under nominative fair use and should not be considered an endorsement by their publishers or creators.
Fair.
For content warnings, see arcadespirits.com/CW.
All right, so there may be some more mature themes and topics during the story.
P-Cube presents, created by Fiction Factory Games. Arcade Spirits, the new challengers.
Okay.
Level 1, Ultimate Team Up.
Okay.
From as far back as I can remember, my dreams were always ones of victory. The roar of the crowd, the gleam of gold, the pulse-pounding action, struggling against all odds, to reach the very top.
So I wonder if this one is going to be more geared toward, like, again, just the new challengers. It has this Street Fighter 2 or Street Fighter series vibe to it. And so I wonder if this is going to be like somebody they're trying to do competitive, like arcade gaming, fighting tournaments and stuff. Maybe that's what this is going to be about.
Achievement. Recognition. Triumph.
Okay.
When you're young, you don't put much thought as to why you crave victory. You just do. You want to be the very best, like no one ever was.
All right.
But now that I'm an adult, I sometimes catch myself in the middle of that single-minded pursuit, and wonder, why? What does victory really mean to me? That's what I want to understand. That's what I need to understand.
Okay. Well, hopefully we're not another person that starts out as some kind of hopeless individual who is down in the dumps and needs to come up from the bottom. Hopefully, maybe we're more of an established person in this game. We'll see.
Because dreams are lovely, but reality can be a real punch in the gut.
True. New scene. Okay. Fight Shack.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy
Punchy78 here with Fight Shack News.
All the fighting
that's fit to post.
Oh, so this one's actually reading it in... That's a little distracting, actually. So it's reading the narrated, the spoken content, both in text-to-speech and the text-to-speech narration.
We got the hottest news coming at you about everybody's favorite action strategy esports phenomenon, Fist of Discomfort 2.
Yeah, that's a weird name.
If you've ever wanted to go pro and play games for a living, now's your chance. The FOD2 Pro Tour is starting this year.
So it's like he's in front of a PowerPoint presentation, and those, you're just going to have to, like, there's a whole bunch of words, but it is not what he's saying, so...
Major esports organizations are already snatching up new players in hopes of building the perfect championship team. We'll have more news in the months ahead as events are added to the Pro Tour. And don't forget to show your boy Punchy78 some love. Like, share, subscribe, and smash that bell.
Oh, cliche. Even in real life, that is so cliche at this point. But yeah, so this definitely seems to be where I thought it was heading. This one, kind of a professional gamer competition type thing, where the last one seemed to be more early arcade, early like 80s style arcade stuff, and I don't know where it goes from there, but let's keep going. All right, moving on to a new scene here.
Narration, we see a game of Fist of Discomfort, a martial arts action strategy game, being played.
Okay.
Just 200 points behind, we can pull ahead, we got this. Hit the item shop, buy an ultimate technique scroll, blink back to the fight, loop around behind my opponent while my partner runs a distraction. Evade that ninja, interrupt the casting animation, sweep in, activate 5-fold exploding death fist, and there.
All right, so it almost sounds like more of like an MMO than it does a fighting game, because you're You're talking like a team-based sort of experience we got here.
7th win of the day. Bleep
You
yeah.
win.
Feels good to be on a hot streak.
All right.
And it's not just today. I've been topping the leaderboards as of late. I wonder, exactly how far I could really take this winning streak.
Okay.
Punchy78 said it himself that major esports teams are looking to sign talented new players. Heck, I'm talented enough. Maybe it's time to chase down that childhood dream.
Why not?
With the official Pro Tour on the horizon, this could be my moment if I decide to go for it. One shot to show the world what I can do. It is the distant future year 20XX. Arcades and video gaming as a whole are a part of daily life.
So right now,
I've lived in this city a long time. I've walked past countless little arcades, major franchise gaming centers, retro console game shops, and more.
you know, I miss arcades. You know, I never had any money growing up, so I could never really participate in them. And I lived in the middle of nowhere, so I didn't get to arcades that often. But when I did, they were cool. And I know I found out recently that there's a couple really cool sounding arcades locally in my city, and I definitely need to get my butt over to one of those one of these days.
We got lucky, though. I've read on many reputable theory crafting sites that there was almost a major video game crash in 198X, due to market oversaturation.
Oh yeah, 1982.
If that had actually happened, arcades would have lost any chance at worldwide popularity. Games
No,
would
they
be
just
looked
shifted
down
over to
upon as
computers
kiddie
instead
toys,
of
and little else.
consoles.
Thankfully the industry sorted itself out, and that theoretical crash was averted. Now, 20XX is a gaming paradise.
And I wonder if they're going to have commentary on, yeah, it would be, except AAA gaming companies are greedy and they like to buy up little companies and shut them down and fire half their employees, and we could be seeing a recession again. We'll see.
What if there's a chance that an alternate dimension exists and those gamers are trapped in the darkest timeline? I shudder at the thought.
Okay.
I bet in that universe you can't go from a zero to a hero. But here, you can.
You gotta
Maybe
earn
I
it.
can. Maybe I can really do it. Look. Let's be honest.
Ooh, that is an old
Right
computer
now I don't
monitor.
have much going on in my life other than being pretty darn good at video games.
That is a 90s ass computer if I've ever seen one. Old gray tower, got this CRT square monitor. You got the old school, like, cheapo speakers going on. Oh yeah, that is 90s as all hell.
But if I could really lean into that, find the success and accomplishment I crave through Fist of Discomfort. That's a great dream to have, right? A great dream.
Well,
I
if you
just
can make
need
it
the
work.
courage to make it happen. According to Fight Shack, it sounds like the major teams are seeking new talent, and I'd like to think I'm a strong prospect.
That's fine, but again, like I said, I would go for it, but I would also have some backup plans in place, because like I said, being an adult, the bills aren't going to pay themselves, and you shouldn't be just mooching off of the system.
First I'll need to get online and see who's recruiting. Fortunately, I practically live on the internet, so I can surf the information superhighway right to glory.
Who says that these days? Does that, I mean, other than being ironic or historical, like, does anyone actually say information superhighway anymore? But I remember that was a huge terminology in like the mid-90s.
This PC is my nexus of both work and play, the good old beige tower of power, the same computer I had when I was a kid.
You're probably going to need a spec bump then, sir.
I've replaced pieces of it along the way, of course. So many pieces that it's practically the computer of Theseus by this point.
Well,
but it's mine, and I love it dearly.
Totally understand that, but at some point you got to get a whole new one, because the motherboards, they have totally different sockets, and I'm being way too nerdy about this.
Time to boot up and get to work.
All right, let's do it.
Narration, slow zoom in on your computer screen, where a pixelated logo reading Sparksoft Vaporware for Workgroups 3.11 is displayed as the computer boots up to desktop.
Okay, so we're going for a retro futuristic thing. Yeah, Windows 3.1. I used that back in the day. Sadly.
Yes, I know my operating system is an ancient eyesore. But I've tweaked and recompiled bits of it until it does what I need it to do, and that's what matters.
Fair enough.
A few clicks of the mouse later,
Oh no.
and I'm online with www.discomfort.fist, the official FOD2 community.
I'm very confused right now. We're 20XX. I understand you have an old operating system, but damn, son. You ought to ditch this dial-up nonsense, because anything gaming related now, you'll be there for a decade waiting for the web page to load, let alone a game.
Before I start sending out my resume, maybe I should update my profile. Sometimes the site messes up my personal metadata.
All right. Here we go.
What is your gamer handle? This is the name most people will use.
All right, we're going to say
20 characters maximum and press enter.
Hawk.
What is your first name? Type 20 characters max. What is your last name? What is your pronoun? He/him.
Amateur noun.
Do you want to accept default appearance, or create your own? Default has slightly brown skin, a gray hoodie, glasses, brown hair, brown eyes, and a knit cap.
We'll keep it fine for now.
Use the default name.
So if you don't...
Hawk/G's Anderson.
Oh, I
Pronoun,
mistyped.
he.
Alright, whatever. It's still good enough.
Yes, that's correct.
Close enough for government
That's me,
work.
G's Anderson.
G's.
Better known as Hawk, destroyer of dojos, breaker of N00BS.
Hell yeah! I don't think that was intended, but dojos, man, that ties right into my spiel, man. Cobra Kai never dies.
Not
Hell
a
yeah.
bad win/loss record, very good for an amateur player, in fact. Hopefully, that's enough to entice a pro team into giving me a shot. But, while I'm here, curiosity takes me. I wonder how my rival is doing. What is your rival's gamer handle? This is the name most people will use. Type 20 characters maximum and press enter.
How about... We'll just say Dan.
What is your rival's first name? Type 20 characters maximum
Oh, that
and
was
press
his name.
enter.
Okay, well, whatever. He's not very original.
What is your rival's last name?
I
Type
don't know how to
20
spell
characters maximum and
LaRusso,
press enter.
so I'm just going to say... L. He's mysterious.
What is your rival's pronoun? He/. Do you want to accept default appearance, or create your own? Use the default.
Sure. Default.
Name, Dan/Dan L. Pronoun, he.
Yep.
Yes.
Good enough for me.
G's Anderson, and Dan L. Dan, and Hawk. We've fought each other countless times in the leaderboards. Sometimes I'm on the rise, sometimes he takes the lead. It's good to keep your friends close and your enemies closer. With that in mind, we stay in touch. And, well, we have mutual respect, and get along well enough. Can't deny the mad skills, but he's also a jerk. Hostile rivalry. We have mutual respect.
Sure.
Sure, we're technically in competition with each other, but there's also a kind of kinship, a battlefield bond we've developed. We became fast friends, online and offline. Swap tips on improving our character combos, shared info on upcoming tournaments, things like that. Still, there's always been an edge of rivalry to it. Trying to outdo each other, to show each other up, to dominate. I honestly don't think this game would be as fun without Dan being around.
Fair enough.
Actually, come to think of it, maybe Dan would have some tips for getting signed. He's more involved in the scene than I am. I power down the computer of Theseus for now, pulling out my phone to speed dial Dan.
Alright, well, let's see if we can get a conversation, and then we'll wrap up the video.
Dan, Hawk. Have you been following all the news surrounding FOD2? Isn't it wild? Hawk, I can't believe everything that's happening. I'm thinking now is the perfect time to go for that dream of mine. Dan, oh yeah? Have you signed on with a team yet? Hawk, not yet, no. Actually, I was calling to see if you wanted to look into being on a team together or something. Dan, about that.
He already got signed.
Dan, I'm already on a team.
Yep, knew it.
Hawk, what? Dan, team play to win. They signed me right away. Hawk, what about me? You're equal. Your good friend Hawk. I can't believe you didn't put in a good word for me. Dan, I didn't know I had to. Thought you were good enough to find your own team. Dan, must have slipped my mind. Hawk, okay, but how did you find them? Dan, I just downloaded Iris.
Ah, okay, so Iris is that sort of smartphone assistant app that our roommate recommended to us from the previous game. So yeah, all new characters, similar type of vibe. So we're gonna have a different but similar goal. Okay.
Hawk, and what, exactly, is an Iris?
It is a weird AI app.
Dan, it's amazing, that's what it is.
Okay.
Dan, this little app did all the work, actually. I just told Iris I wanted a team, and here I am, on one of the hottest franchises in the world.
Okay.
Dan, you should grab Iris, too. You just need to fetch it off a pirate server first. Hawk, that sounds dangerous. Dan, entirely. I'll send you the link. Hawk, thanks. Dan, thank me later on the battlefield when both of our teams are neck and neck. I expect to see you there. Later, nerd.
Okay.
Dan.
I kind of like the vibe of this
Even
one.
after all this time, I'm not entirely sure what to make of him. Good impression. Dan is pretty great. A true friend. Romantic impression. There's just something playful about him that, rewind.
Okay.
Good impression.
Yeah, we'll
While
just have
he
a good
may have
impression.
a little snark, I know it's all in good humor. I know we can always joke about fighting each other and being rivals. But at the end of the day, we're friends. Okay. Let's refocus. My rival's already 10 steps ahead of me on this journey, and I need to catch up. At least Dan provided me the means to catch up. If this Iris program he used worked for him, it worked for me. Even if it meant installing some dodgy piece of pirated software on my phone.
So yeah, I thought that was just like an app store thing or whatever from the other game, but yeah, apparently we learned that it's a little more dodgy this time. Maybe something happened in the previous game that I haven't got to yet that establishes that, but
whatever, right? I live thriftily. Half the software I use is pirated, abandonware, or a buggy open source package. What's one more on the pile?
Yeah.
After loading it up, I tap the icon, and...
Oh man, I want to end the video like right here, because it's like, Oh, well, now you can see what's going to happen. You know what? I think I will, because you got to see Iris in the last one. You'll get to see if it changed in the sequel or how it's changed. I mean, the game is very straightforward. It's very simple in its mechanics and its controls. You know, you've got this sort of comic book-esque art style. You've got these text dialogues. We haven't heard any voice acting yet, but I would assume maybe we'll hear a little bit with the Iris app. Maybe we did. I don't remember if we heard a line or two, but there is some voice acting, just like the other games. But yeah, the first Arcade Spirits, I think, is more of like, working in an arcade and going through those sort of trials and tribulations, and then this one is you got more of your competitive, professional gamer edge. So it's not just I like that it's not just retelling like, we're working in a different arcade or similar type of thing. This is more of a, maybe not necessarily arcade, but you're a PC gamer and you're doing all of your online stuff despite a dial-up connection. Hello, people. 20XX, you better not be running dial-up anymore. But anyway, other than that, I'm kind of curious to see where these both of these stories go. So that is where we will leave it, in fact, and I would encourage you to support the devs and try the game for yourself. I grabbed the game on Steam. Not sure if it's available on other platforms like GOG or whatever, but anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Give it a like if you did. Follow me on Twitter at BGFH79, twitch.tv/illegally-cited, illegally-cited.com, and right here on YouTube. Until next time, I will chat with everybody again later.